Hey everybody, it's Dennis. Today I was going to do the second part of step 12. I've been sort of delaying that. That just life gets in the way of stuff, and I'll do it. But I was at a meeting yesterday and I kind of came away from it feeling like I wanted to address it with somebody, but I didn't because I didn't want to cause trouble and be difficult. But anyway, so I went to a meeting yesterday, and we had a reading, and it was about gratitude, and that's good. But sometimes I think people take gratitude in a very shallow way. They don't really think about what it means, and sometimes I actually avoid the topic of gratitude because it comes off as being trite and not truly understanding, or at least appreciating the depths of what gratitude is really about. So this meeting, and truthfully, the meeting is with mostly older people. There's a few younger people. There's probably 30 people in this meeting. But there's a good representation of older people. And so I walk into the meeting and I hear people talking, and there's a conversation going, and one woman is just complaining about everything, about the snow removal, about how this winter, and she goes on and on and on. And it has been a hard winter. It's been very difficult up here in New England. And it's, I guess it's a topic of conversation constantly, I guess, right? But her discussion was just never ending complaints, just complaining about every single thing. Never a bright, at least, March is here or something like that. No, none of that. And then another woman got up and she started complaining. She actually was chairing the meeting, and she was talking about another meeting where they changed out some of the protocols. They changed it so you can only speak for 2 minutes, and she said that was really bothering her. And they changed a few things about the meeting, and it really bothered her. And she's chairing, and this is her time in front of everybody that she's talking about this. And the meeting, meanwhile, is about gratitude. And I understand. I complain. I'm not going to say I don't complain. But I am aware of it. At least I try to be aware of it. I don't want to be one of those people that just, as they get older, that sometimes happens. But people in general, all they do is complain. They just bitch and complain, and that's the topic of conversation, is just complaining about stuff. Like I said, I know there's worthy things of talking about. I had a real tough week, actually, with work and the snow and all, and I hurt myself and all sorts of things. But it's really not helpful for me to start complaining, particularly on things that I can't change. I can't change the weather. So anyway, my point is that if you truly embrace gratitude, these things shouldn't be so big a deal on you, these complainings that you have. If you remember how bad it was for you, I remember for me it was in the middle of the 90s when my drinking was just the worst. It was before then too, though. It was, that entire decade was really difficult on me. And a lot of it is a blur. I don't remember a lot of it. But I do remember the misery. I remember the misery, and I need to always remember the misery. I was on my hands and knees going for a drink. I would do anything for a drink. I was living in a little apartment. I had nobody in my life. Nobody really cared about me but my dog and my mom. And it was just such a dark, terrible life. And every day I may not have said I wanted to kill myself, but I certainly didn't want to live. And I was just so consumed by alcohol. My body was riddled with alcohol. I couldn't function without alcohol. And it was just killing me. It was killing me mentally, it was killing me physically, and it was killing me spiritually. And then you come to now. bazing, right? Now you're in the now, and you're complaining that a meeting has changed from 3 minutes to 2 minutes on how long you can speak because there's so many people at the meeting now. Isn't it kind of pale in comparison as to where you were? I mean, can't you see that you should be so damn grateful that that's your big problem today? I mean, think about it. That's the problem you have. Before, you were just, all you thought about was drinking. This woman, she talked about when she was in her later 40s and she had to go into a halfway house with just women in a very undesirable place and how terrible it was and everything. And she had to learn from and she talks about that. And then she skips over to now when her big problem is at the meeting and somebody at the meeting she doesn't like, or some complaint about complaining and complain. And so I just don't see the gratitude in that kind of a life. I think, and she's a very nice lady. She's very nice and all, but she's just, all she does when she opens her mouth is complain. And there's been some other things that have happened that made me think about this as well. I had a conversation. I have a friend from Germany, and she and I've been talking to her for a long time, and she has an elderly friend, and her elderly friend is she's also kind of a chronic complainer, and she wants to die, and her son wants to help her die. Seriously, there's nothing really physically wrong with her. She just doesn't want to live anymore. And if you understood how void of gratitude that is when you're at that point, is no different than we were at when we were at our worst in our drinking. My point on this whole thing is that a grateful heart doesn't drink. We say that, but we should also be grateful about the circumstances of our life and not be focusing so much on the tiny little things that irritate us. I do it. I'm not going to say I don't. But I try to be aware of how much I complain because it is such the opposite of being grateful. Thanks, and I hope you have a great day.